Hey there, so I just wanted to show you guys how to use my favorite meal tracking app, MyMacros. So I'm going to enter the app. I'm just sharing my phone screen here, and I'm just going to go through a couple different things like editing meal names, setting your nutritional goals. I'll go over adding custom foods, also searching for other foods, and I'll touch on creating a recipe as well as editing your your daily options. So if you're not familiar with this platform, it is only an Apple app right now. But once you download it, you'll get a login and you'll be able to set up your profile. You're able to enter in email, your your stats and things like that. Um, First, I would edit your meal names before you even add any custom foods or anything. It makes everything so much easier. So I like to have my meals as just listed meals one through whatever. I have listed up through meal six. You can have up to seven meals in your profile, and I just have one labeled post workout. So you can change these easily by just clicking edit meal. And you can make it say breakfast or whatever you want. I think at one time I might have even had, pre workout, post workout, that kind of thing. So once you have your meal name set, then you'll go back out and set your nutritional goals. And these can be what is great about MyMacros is that it's very, very specific. So if you're given macronutrients by a coach or you're aiming to hit specific macronutrients rather than having to guess, you'll be able to set them perfectly here. So you'll see that you can have different goal profiles. So I could say this is test video for my profile. And then I'll say, let's say 150 or 150 protein, let's say 200 carbs, and we'll do 65 grams fat. Totally arbitrary. So let's go ahead and save this profile. I can delete it at any time. And then I can select the test video macros. Yes, and go back. Okay, so I want to make sure that those are the ones that I have saved. And then also within the app are a ton of how-to tutorials. So you don't have to reference this. The tutorials are going to go into much more detail, how to change all the specifics. Once you get in the app, you're going to want to play around with it. So I'm going to skip that part and go back out to creating food. So let's just plan a meal for tomorrow. You'll see that I've got my goals set right at the top. Now here is where if you don't have custom foods, so I've entered in pretty much all the foods that I've ever eaten on a regular basis. If you don't have that, then you'll want to use the search option. I very rarely use the search option. What I love about MyMacros is its accuracy. So I take advantage of the accuracy by creating my own food. So I'm just going to use, let's say I want to have a protein shake for breakfast. So I'll just tap the P through the alphabet and it scrolls down. And then I'll choose protein. And when the way I have it labeled, I'll show you the edit. I always categorize my food by the type of food that it is. So if it's a protein powder, then I always put protein. And then I go ahead and write the brand most of the time out here because I'll show you when we go back. And I go ahead and write the brand. And if there was a flavor, I'd write a flavor, but with True Nutrition, all the flavors are the same. At least the ones that I've used, I also use unflavored. And then I go in and add the serving size that's on the label. Everything that I add in is in grams, unless it's like a solid something, like a hot dog or a Pop-Tart or one donut or something like that. I wouldn't weigh that in grams typically. So I leave the calories out and I let the app calculate the calories. It's going to be most accurate that way. So I would take the label of the food and I would just enter fat. And then I would enter all of the other stats. If the saturated fat is in that food and it's available, I'll go ahead and enter that along with cholesterol and sodium, along with carbohydrates and fiber. Fiber is a big one that I do like to count. along with sugar and protein. So once you have that, you can even select the food type if you want. It helps with the searching. I typically don't. And this one doesn't really have like a protein, powder to select or supplement. So we'll X out of that. And then so once you choose from your custom list, the protein, then you want to enter how many grams you want to have. So I already know that I want 45 grams of protein for meal 1. So you enter 45 grams, you can choose which meal you want to plan, and you can even see, like, let's say you have a number in your mind that you want, let's say you're looking actually to have 40 grams of protein for this meal. You're like, oh, you know what? 45 gives me too much. Let me go down just a little bit. So you can see the fats and the carbs and the protein and even the fiber per serving. So you could play around with it to get it more exact, right? All right, so that is added to meal 1. And if I wanted to continue and have some oatmeal, then I would do the same thing. I just click the O and it would bring up to where oatmeal is. And I could click, I've got all different kinds of oatmeal, but I'll just do quick oats here. And I'll just add 50 grams of quick oats to meal 1. Okay, so that's how I would plan my meal. If I'd move on to meal 2, then I would do the same thing. Now, something that's really cool is that you can copy meals from other days. So I could go to, let's just say yesterday, and let's say I want to have this chicken meal again. I can copy that, and then I can choose, do I want to copy all of the ingredients? Let's say I want to leave out the cheese, and I want to copy this to the date, the correct date, and then I would just move that, and let's call that, I'm going to do that for meal 2. Okay. Now, let's say before I leave off the screen, I'm like, oh, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and have that for meal 4 as well while I'm here. Leave off the cheese again just for the heck of it, because I want to show you about meal scheduling. And let's just say that meal 4 that I had yesterday, I actually want to have, oh, you know what? I'll use this as an example. So this is a recipe that I created. So let me go into the recipes. There's a tutorial video about how to create a recipe, so I'll show you how to use the recipe. When you create all your recipes, they're going to be listed under here on however you label them. So as you begin to label, you'll notice that it's easiest to label things probably as you refer to them. So this is egg muffins. So the recipe, if you want to edit the recipe, you can go in. This is for the total portion of my recipe, and it makes 18 servings. And so as I was creating my egg muffins, I was just keeping track of the ingredients so that whenever I wanted to add one, I said that 1 serving, and I want to add 3 of those to meal 3 for tomorrow. I'm planning out my meals. So what it's going to do is it's going to tell me what 3 of those egg muffins equate to in macronutrients. And you can scroll down and just kind of make sure that that is in line with what your goals are. Now, what happens is that oh, did I add it to the wrong day? Okay, let me go back. Recipe, we'll go egg muffin. Oh, it's because I'm on the day. Okay, so you have to be, I was adding everything to the 11th. All right. So, looks like I must have been on a specific day. Okay, I don't know where my recipe went. Let's try it again. So, we're going to go into the recipe. I'm going to add 3 of these to meal 3. All right, so there they are. They're listed. So you'll see that they're listed by ingredient. They're not going to say 3 egg muffins, so don't let that be confusing to you. Now you'll also might notice that the meals are out of order because they're in order that they were added. So all you have to do is go to options, and you can reorder today's meals. Okay. All right. So now taking a look at what's going on here, you can see that I've already reached my protein intake for the day, so I wasn't actually doing really good planning. But for those of you that are new to macronutrient tracking, this is going to be really helpful because you can see at the top and at the bottom how close you are. You have technically no protein left for the day. So let's say I want to free up some protein so I can have one more meal. Let's decrease that a little bit and make each one about 30 grams, which for most of you, if you're one of my athletes, you're going to have specific meal macronutrients to aim for, which is supposed to help you plan. So that should eliminate some of this confusion. So with the muffins, I don't really want to mess with any of those ingredients because they're pre-made. So even though it's a little bit lower on the protein side, I'm just going to leave them there. And I'm going to mess with the ingredients that I haven't made yet. These are the meals that I'm just planning to make. So then you can you can just tap the macronutrients at the bottom of the screen and see how much you have left. Okay, so let's say this is going to be a workout day and you want to work out sometime in the morning. So let's increase your oatmeal just a little bit. And we're going to add a little bit more rice to this meal. Let's go 125. It really is just kind of playing with the numbers to kind of see where you are. And then see what I just did? I just checked the carbohydrates to see where I was. You've got 30 grams of protein left and 28 grams of fat. So you can easily just fill in the blanks. For example, we'll go back to, like, let's say a post-workout shake. We'll do some glycofuse and we'll do 1 scoop, which is 30 grams. We're going to put that post-workout, or during your workout is fine. And then what does that leave us? It leaves us with 46.28. So remember when I took out that cheese earlier? Cheese is a really great fat source along with protein. So all you have to do is kind of go back in and build your meals based on what you'd like to eat within that meal. Now, what if I don't want shredded cheese? That's fine. I can have a cheese stick. And so all I have to do is just find the cheese stick. Okay, I want to have that with meal 3, and I'll have 1 cheese stick. And so I can go through and continue to do this until I get my numbers as close as possible. Okay. Now, what I really like is that at the bottom right, you can click this information circle for calories, and you can just double check and see your fiber. So my fiber is really low here, but so is my sugar. So you can also look back at my food and see that I haven't had a lot of vegetables. So if you add in some vegetables, that can fill up some carbs at dinner time. And you can kind of go from there. From those of you that might track your macronutrients by a percentage base, there's that as well. And then the closer you get to your goals, you'll be able to see the bar chart there as well, the bar graph. So that is MyMacros in a nutshell. If you have any questions, please let us know.